So I don't have a lot of exposure.
Okay.
So I don't have a lot of exposure to IB, and actually I have been assigned the duty to take up TOK in the context of area of knowledge of math. So I really
Okay.
wanted to know
Interesting.
about how you are going to proceed with it and gain experience as to how I should be actually proceeding with this.
Okay, great, great. Okay. Yes, any other participants wants to contribute? Okay. Fine. Let's move ahead. There are three agenda points on my list for today's session. One is understanding the basic issues that we have with TOK as an assessment in general. What is my experience as examiner over these years, and what the examiners are actually looking for, and where the mismatch generally happens? Because a lot of time when results come out, there is this uh, pain that is expressed that, oh, my best student got very less, but my not such a great essay, which I thought was not such a great essay, got really good grades, and I'm not able to understand how this is exactly works. Now, just a disclaimer before we move ahead that these are all the my best practices over the years, as well as my impressions as examiner. It's not necessarily always congruent with what IB's official documents are going to talk about. And then definitely we will deal with the May 24 titles as much as we will be able to cover them. Okay. So, I would like to pitch this question to you that what are the two key issues that you encounter while you are guiding the students in the TOKSA assessment? You can add it in the chat box, or if you want to speak about it, you can do that as well. Yes, very good. Yes, we're going to discuss that. Implications, of course, because that's the word which comes only in the grade that mark band 9 and 10. It becomes tricky. Okay, anything else? Any other participants? Ah, okay, fine. These are really interesting aspects out there that, yes, good examples. Again, uh, whether a cliche example is a good example, or how we deal with really routine stuff that comes up. Absolutely. Okay. So let me address these issues. Some of them are already on my screen, on my slides, but we will go one by one about these. Okay, let's start with the big elephant in the room, the use of AI and ChatGPT. Absolutely. I think when it emerged on the horizon, the TOK teachers almost had an existentialist crisis, that whether this is going to end the way we are dealing with the essay assignment altogether. Now, what we have experienced, and I have talked about this with other TOK teachers as well, that ChatGPT or any kind of AI, uh, IB has definitely said that they are not banning it. Okay, they are encouraging, if not encouraging students to use it, they are saying that they have to uh, give them the credit. They can be used as a reference. What is definitely not happening with AI, and I have tested this even with this year's title, that maybe ChatGPT or Bard or anything cannot write the essay for the students. It cannot write the entire essay. It can give you the clues. It can sometimes even give you examples, but it cannot generate an argument. And that is something we need to discuss it with the students. What we have done in our school, that we have guided the students that AI can be a starting point. It can be something that can be uh, that can be there for them to clarify a particular idea, but it cannot be the end product. It's not sufficient to do that. So that's definitely one thing. Secondly, uh, it's a cat and mouse game when it comes to plagiarism issue, when it is dealing with, when we're dealing with AI. Whatever software, whether it is Turnitin or any other software that your school is using, they all have AI detectors now, but they are not foolproof. They are not at all. We cannot guarantee that whatever we are getting is whatever percentage these machines are telling us about the amount of AI used is perfect. So again, we need to sit with the students and explain it to them how, if they really want to use it, how to use it effectively. That's the only way out here. And it's a learning process. And again, ChatGPT is or any AI tool is going to become better and better with every passing minute, and therefore it's a training that we need to have, and we need to provide that with to our students as well, that how we are going to uh, deal with this situation. Again, if they are getting something from the AI, what is, and this is what I have experienced this year more prominently, they need to understand that it also needs to be checked again. It cannot be considered as a gospel truth. It cannot be taken as it is. And they need to have cross referencing for it as well. Ultimately, it boils down to what prompt they are using while they are using the AI of any kind. And the better they will do that, the better AI will also be able to help them. But again, as I said, the basic line is that it is not an end in itself. It will not give you the entire essay. You still need to have the argument created by yourself. Examples, again, the problem with it, that it will keep on giving, and that is something I have spoken with my students, that AI will keep on giving the same examples to everyone. If you want your essay to be unique, if you want your essay to be personal, it is necessary that the use of AI has to be wise, if not uh, totally avoided. Okay. Any thoughts about what is your experience with? Uh, uh, can you please mute yourself? Like, okay. What is any participants? What is your thoughts on use of AI in your school? How the students are responding to it? What's the experience? Okay. Okay. Moving on. Let's look at the other issue, that is of the paid help sites. Yeah, there are too many of them right now in the market, and they are again, the issue is the same, that they will give the students the same kind of argument even, and the same kind of examples. As an examiner, I'm going back to that experience. It become so apparent last year, especially after first 50, 75 essays, that and I talked with other examiners about this, that we were actually able to trace back to the same source from which these students were picking it up, and it becomes tedious to read. So that is something you can definitely tell your students, that the essay is still marked by a human being. It's not marked by a machine, and human beings get really bored with the repetition. And if you really want your essay to stand out, if you really want your essay to be read with more enthusiasm by the examiner, it is important that please dig deeper into your own experiences. Yes, it's a shortcut. It's a definitely an easy way to uh, find the things, that okay, I go to this site and it will I read this, and I mean, YouTube channels are there, that how to write an essay in 1 hour or something like that. But then they all are having a repetition of it, and it's not necessary. uh, the problem here is the repetition does not involve uh, any personal voice. It doesn't carry that engagement of the student, and that creates an issue, because then it's not the student's idea, that it's not their thought, and that makes it even weaker. Okay, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Okay, so these are few things. Is my screen visible to you all? Okay, now these are few practices that I have followed over the last many years. Okay, first thing is focusing on the marking rubric. And I would suggest that, I don't know what is the schedule of your school, but we all know that the essays are always there on 1st of September. So prior to that, if you do this practice, that will be great. That uh, you are grilling them on understanding the uh, marking rubric, because uh, that that is a crucial thing. Otherwise, the students write their draft and write their final thing, and they feel that they are really good in what they are doing. Especially if they are good in English, they think they treat it as an English essay, or if they are really good in research, then they treat it as a research essay, and then they don't keep the focus on the marking rubric. So give them lot of exemplars, let them mark them, okay, and see that they understand the language of the exemplar, especially the idea of the global impression marking. That's a very important thing, that those adjectives given below every mark band, do they feel that the essay that they are reading are fitting into that category? And let it have as a class activity, let them discuss it with each other. Okay, that always works very well, that you give them the same essay, and then exchange it, and then let them mark, and then defend their marking as much as possible. Okay, that will make that base very strong, that this is the marking rubric, and this is where I need to take my essay. Because the problem is, uh, the the TOK essay can be written in multiple ways. There is no final formula there at all. But then your ultimate goal is to fulfill the requirement of the rubric. So it is not completely subjective as it appears, or sometimes TOK is blamed to be. It's not that. There is a rubric, and they need to know the rubric. Now, second thing is unpacking the essay titles as a class activity, I will show you a few samples of it. Okay. Third thing, and I think this is very important when we do unpacking, and when I was a very new TOK teacher, I made this mistake that I kept on giving them my interpretation of the title. I say, oh, okay, this is how it is, okay. But that just curtails, that stops the thinking. It's not necessary. You have a class of 40 people, there can be 40 different essays on the same title. The titles are constructed like that, and therefore don't give them ready-made answers. Keep them asking questions that will nudge them in different directions, find different pathways, and bring their own answers. Fourth thing, and again I'm going to show you a sample. Scaffolding works for weaker students, okay, especially when they are uh, not able to structure the essay properly. They may lose marks unnecessarily just because of these technical issues, and I will show you one sample as well. Fifth thing, and this is what I learned in a very hard way, but I would urge all of you to do this, and a completely anonymous moderation and marking with annotations with other teachers. Because a lot of time when results come out, and as I was saying that, oh, my best student got only 3 and my not so good student got an 8. The problem is your best student may be your best student in the TOK class, but it is not necessary that the essay was equally good. And when we know whose essay it is human tendency. When we know that whose essay it is, we become biased. If the only way to avoid it is completely anonymous and make it a hard copy, that is even better. Okay, give it to each other, have 2 or 3 rounds. That will give you a very objective understanding of where the essay stands. And yes, you can fight about it. I'm not saying that uh, this will uh, only have negative consequences. You can say that, okay, I think this was better than what you thought, but these are my reasons, and then that can give the students better feedback. The best time to do this is the only draft that's out there, and therefore one thing that is already involved there, that draft has to be the complete draft. In my school, at least, we never do that. Okay, it's a 1600 word essay and we only have, let's say, an 800 word draft. No, we want the entire thing, because that's where we can give the maximum feedback so that they can carry forward it. One more thing, I'm still struggling with it. Okay, I'm not totally got the hang of it, but get all teachers involved, all IB teachers. TOK is not a subject, as we know. It's a uh, core component, and therefore it is necessary that all teachers are involved into it in multiple ways. Explain them the titles, okay, explain them how they can help the students to provide examples. That was one query above, that how do we provide better examples, how they can link the essay title and the ideas with their IB experience. Other teachers are very valuable in this, okay. And we already talked about AI and help websites. Okay, any questions at this point? I know I'm spoken a lot, so any questions at this point? Anyone? Yes, you can unmute. Any questions? You can type if you want. Okay. Uh, so these are a few examples. Okay. This is how we do the collective unpacking. So the essay title is pasted in the middle of the chart. and the students uh, write their ideas and their questions around it, and every group gets a different colored pen, and then it goes around, and we keep it on the walls so that they can refer back to it. And again, it is just an ideating stage. They ask a lot of questions, and they try to see what are the different ways they can approach a particular title. Okay. uh, yes, Sudha, I will take your question. When you say opposing viewpoints, should we be uh, the most and the simplest one of opposing viewpoints, though IB is not using that term anymore, but this is what I was talking about. If you can see on the next screen, okay, the typical traditional claim counterclaim structure. Uh, yes, as I said, that's not the words that being used. We are using the words perspectives or different viewpoints, but this kind of format can help the weaker students, where they have a clear structure, that okay, this is the AOK I'm dealing with respect to this title, okay, and these are going to be my examples. If they follow this, again, the and again, this is my um uh, kind of goal every batch that comes for TOK, that no student should get 4 uh, or less than 4 in an essay. It's a difficult task. It's a high bar most of the time. There are always going to be students who will get 3, 2, and all that. But then my effort is to push that bar. And as an examiner, what I'm trying to say, that if you follow this format, it is more likely that you're fulfilling at least uh, the basic requirements of the rubric. Okay. Uh, any guiding questions for the initial collective unpacking? No, actually, that's a very good question, Neeta. And my answer is no. I do not deliberately put any guiding question. It is just a completely random, open-ended uh, ideating session. Whatever comes to their mind, it however ridiculous it I might feel at that point, I don't stop them from writing it, because it just that they are getting it out, that okay, and that's where they also understand that which title is more suitable to them,
Good
which
to
title is more exciting to them.
जी
That also
एक पेज निकाला, मैं पीछे वाला भी निकाल कर ऐसे दे दूँ।
ठीक
okay.
है, कल मैं देख के आपको
हाँ
रिप्लाई करूंगी। ये तो इसका
uh,
वो होगा।
can you
ठीक
please mute
हाँ, ये वो
how to avoid similarity in the
हाँ
exam?
जी
टेबल ऑफ
हाँ हाँ
Yes, that is an issue. Definitely, that is an issue. But that again, as I said, that is connected with the use of many times they help websites. What we can do at max, and that is where okay. Let me share. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yes, that is a big issue, and I also face that very regularly about similarity in the examples. The uh, one way to deal with it is, if the examples are similar, how they are treating it, how they are using that example, that becomes extremely important. Okay. Uh, Yes, Abhik Chakravarti, I take your question. If a student brings example not from AOK directly, example of politics or archaeology. Now, politics again, around pandemic and before the Trump years, politics was an extremely favorite uh, part where students went for example, but the problem is they were not talking about political science as the area of knowledge. They were talking about a political event, something that Trump said, or something that happened somewhere. That's not we are uh, we are interested in when we are saying politics. Okay. Uh, even in case of even in case of even in case of archaeology, it is necessary that it is connected with the the methodology or the ethics of it, or whatever part of knowledge framework that is very clearly associated with. Okay, we are running out of time, and therefore I will go to the my experiences. Now this is, as I said, this is completely my experiences as examiner, what should be done and what should be avoided. Okay, uh, just give me a moment. Okay, first of all, the title has to be addressed as it is. Do not change any word. This year, for example, it says adoption, so the adoption has to
उसको बोलो
be
कि सॉफ्ट कॉपी भी भेज दें.
adoption has to be the key word. You cannot replace that word with something else. Second thing that always bothers examiners is excessive florid language and too much of technical jargon. Especially, this happens when the students pick up a particular title because they think that if there is a very specific AOK mentioned, and they say, "Oh, I'm very good in this subject, therefore I take this title." That's their way of choosing the title, and then they put a lot of jargon, especially math students. Because I remember, I think 3 years ago there was a title uh, where it was definitely a lot of mathematics was necessary, but it went into a lot of jargon into it. As I am recording it already, sorry. Okay. Third thing, consistent focus on the main theme of the prescribed title. Those words in the prescribed title, and this is a very simple trick I can suggest you as an examiner. uh, Keep that those words and phrases coming back into the essay again and again. It's like like a rhythm, like a sum in the music. Okay, that it you go back to that point again and again. uh, Again, one very common misconception, they don't need to define everything in the title. Okay, and definitely no dictionary definition. Okay, there is it's not demanded. Definitely not every time the definition of knowledge. Okay, only if it is really going to help you in some argument further, then yes, but not otherwise. Okay, emphasis has to be on analysis. As someone said, that AI is very good in describing but not in analysis. Okay, and that's where again, examples, good examples are fine, but then what I have experienced with essays, that students become so fond of their example, they fell in love with their example, that they spend a lot of words in explaining those examples, and that's where it becomes a problem. Okay, the analysis is less and the description of example kind of overpowers. Okay, yes, this is also one more thing. Do not waste too many words in the introduction. Please let the students know this, that it's not that a very interesting and very lengthy introduction is going to help in getting better grades. The examiners are waiting for you to start the argument. So introduction is a good time just to show that, okay, this is my understanding of the title, this is what I mean by the key terms, not the dictionary definition again, and this is my roadmap. Again, if you don't want to keep a thesis statement here, it's your choice, it's not mandatory at all. Next point, again, as an examiner, we find this issue a lot. Okay, uh, get the TOK vocabulary running. That's important. Use the key terms and the knowledge framework. That's extremely important.
मैंने कुछ भरे हैं.
that
कुछ कल
that's
सुबह आके
that's where
बताऊंगी, ठीक है?
it become important.
Okay, I have a
Yes.
need.
Can you please mute? Okay. Uh, okay. It's not a research essay. They don't need to, and this is the issue with our students. I also face it. First instinct is to Google, but there is so much in their own lives, okay, their own experiences as learners, their extended essays, their IAs, their CAS projects. They have such a rich ground of uh, possibilities to bring examples there that will help. And last two things, okay, this is just the exhausted examiner in me telling, please have them double spaced. It becomes because we are
Yeah.
marking a lot of them and we are getting, our eyes get tired. Have a good spacing, keep the font size, no funny fonts, just keep it plain and simple, whatever Times New Roman, whichever, okay. But just keep the spacing fine. And citations, okay, even if you don't want to have uh, footnotes, that's okay, it's your choice, whatever is the style that you are suggesting your students, but there has to be a reference point that, okay, this well where I'm getting it, okay, that has to be there. Okay, I think I have left with very little time now. So in the chat box, can you please just type any one title that you would like me to go through in detail? Okay, custodian title 2. Okay, okay, okay. Let's go to 2 and 4. Maybe then we can go to 5. Okay, let's go to and again this is uh okay, and I'm going to share the entire PPT with you anyway, so you can. I've just written some key issues that the students need to understand. Title 2 is not a favorite within in my with my cohort right now. Okay, uh, uh, the issue is main issue is they have to focus on how do we reconcile, what is the process of it, okay, and that's where the knowledge framework will be extremely important. Okay, now this is a very layered title, no doubt about that. So first of all, they have to understand what are these demands. Maybe it is between uh, in a generalization to find out a broad fundamental paradigm versus finding very specific solutions in specialization. Okay, and importantly, though the title, the better way to deal with this, again, my opinion about it, rather than looking them as two completely different watertight compartments, look at it as a spectrum, especially when it comes to mathematics, because I discussed it at length with my mathematics teachers, and it was tricky to say that,
आप ये
okay,
लीजिए मैं खुद
this is specialization and this is generalization. So definitely, participants, can you please mute? Okay. Now I'm moving directly to till 4. Okay. Uh, we have just a minute left. Do we underestimate the challenges? Now, again, this is a layered one. First of all, they have to find an example about the transfer of original to different context, identify what is the challenge in it, and then whether we underestimate or not. Okay, and why do we do that? And again, as I have moved forward with this title, I understand, I started understanding that what is the key here is who is we, who are these people who are underestimating it. If we keep a focus on that, then I think it flows better, that okay, this is the group of people who are underestimating the challenge, and then what is our reasons to do that. Okay, quickly in not more than few seconds, Title 5 is one of the most favorite one that I have seen. Okay. Do we need custodians? Okay. Important thing is that they understand that the custodian doesn't always mean a person. It can be also a method. It can be a system.